Well, good afternoon to you on this Thursday. Well, we had the rain early this morning. That came from storms that were in Texas last night. And if you're watching on Nightcast at 10 o'clock last night, I'd mentioned that those could arrive somewhere between 2 to 6 a.m. And sure enough, they did. They were weaker than they were in Texas, I'll give you that, but they were still fairly strong in a few places with some gusty winds and some hail out of that. But since then, things have been quiet. Temperatures have warmed up nicely with lots of sunshine. Everyone in the 80s except right at the coastline. Cameron checking in at 79, but it feels like 86 here in Lake Charles with the dew point being up. And of course, that's also thanks to the rain from this morning. Now, a wide view of the satellite and radar. There's not much locally, but back in Texas again, there are showers and thunderstorms out here. This could play a role in our forecast tonight, but I want to show you the radar locally. Once again, nothing going on in any of our viewing area. There are some storms north of the Baton Rouge area, and then I showed you this storm up here east of Lufkin a little earlier, but this too is not moving very fast. That's been the theme with the storms that are in Texas this afternoon. In fact, here's a look at the radar. This is a 3-hour loop, and you'll notice this one north of Bryan, not really moving much, kind of been setting there for over the last hour. This is a tornado warned storm north of Austin. This is actually moving more to the south than it is to the east, but at a very snail's pace movement. So none of these are going to reach our area anytime soon. There are other storms down near the Rio Grande River. You can see there near the Del Rio vicinity. These two are slow moving. So what does that mean for us? Well, unless these storms pick up the pace and start moving eastward quicker, or unless new storms form closer to us, I think the odds of rain are pretty low tonight. Here's Futurecast. The model did a pretty good job last night once it was on track with the storms moving. And I'll admit, it's beyond the view of this model, but it has those storms in Texas placed pretty close to where they're at now. And because they're moving so slow, it has them fizzling out later on tonight with maybe a few showers overnight. But notice even that looks pretty slim. So I'm going to leave the chance for rain in the forecast, albeit a slim chance tonight, just in case. And I'll tell you, the best thing, tune in again tonight on Nightcast. I'll be tracking that. We'll see if those storms in Texas have changed at all. Then tomorrow is also a question mark, but ultimately I think a larger complex of storms may develop to our west and northwest and push into the area late tomorrow afternoon. But that's something that models have a terrible time forecasting. Once there is a cluster of storms like there was last night, it's easier for models to pick up on that. But them forecasting that developing and then where it goes is difficult. But again, I think at least some scattered showers will be possible tomorrow afternoon. Saturday's rain chances, I think, are much more limited at this moment unless this front stalls closer to us or to our north. So with all that said, I can't stress enough, as I said yesterday, there is a lot of uncertainty in the forecast, and that's why I'm not putting the rain chances any higher than where they are now. But for the moment, we're setting good if you have afternoon plans.
All right. Thanks a lot, Wade. And still to come on Live at 5.